The rivalry between Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz is just getting started, but already it's one of the most exciting in tennis. We break down all the latest head-to-head stats and greatest matchups in your guide to Djokovic vs Alcaraz ahead of the 2023 Wimbledon final. Tied at 1-1 in their head-to-head, Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz meet again in the 2023 Wimbledon final this weekend, with a battle between the world's top two players outside of clay for the first time. A little over a year ago, Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz stepped onto the clay of Madrid to face each other for the first time on the ATP Tour. Despite the fact that there have only been 2 matches between Djokovic and Alcaraz, it's one of the most exciting head-to-head matchups in the sport right now. Circumstances have conspired to keep the pair apart from each other for most of the past 12 months, with Djokovic being restricted in his ability to play a range of tournaments due to his COVID-19 travel ban, and Alcaraz suffering an injury in late 2022 to early 2023. What's fascinating about the Djokovic-Alcaraz rivalry is the different stage of career both players are at. Djokovic has been on the ATP Tour for the better part of 2 decades, while Alcaraz is barely in his 3rd full year on tour. Right now, Novak Djokovic is 36 years old, while Carlos Alcaraz is 20 years old. There is a 16-year age gap between the two players. When Djokovic was 20 years old, he had claimed 10 titles in his career to date. This included 1 Grand Slam victory at the 2008 Australian Open, as well as 4 Masters 1000 titles, 1 ATP 500 and 4 ATP 250 events. His highest ranking as a 20-year-old was world number 3. Alcaraz, on the other hand, has won more titles than Djokovic did at the same age. Of his 11 titles, he also has a higher proportion that are ATP 500s, compared to ATP 250s. As well as this, Alcaraz finished year-end world number 1 when he was only 19 years old, something that Djokovic was unable to achieve until he was 24 years old. Looking at the Djokovic vs Alcaraz stats, again, the comparison is difficult to make because of the different stage these players are at in their careers. Novak Djokovic has a career win-loss ratio of 10.58 to 210, winning 83.4% of the time he steps on the court. This figure is even higher at Grand Slams, with Djokovic winning 88.1% of his matches, for a 348.47 lifetime record at majors. Carlos Alcaraz, on the other hand, has a win-loss ratio of 130-35 across th. Perhaps more relevant to the 2023 Wimbledon final, however, are the year-to-date statistics for Djokovic and Alcaraz. Djokovic has a year-to-date record of 27-4, winning both the Australian Open and Roland Garros, as well as Adelaide 1 in January. He is currently the world number 2. Alcaraz sits at a dominant 44 for the year, with 13 more wins than Djokovic, and 2 additional titles. The 20-year-old has picked up trophies in Buenos Aires, Indian Wells, Barcelona, Madrid and Queens so far in 2023, and sits atop the ATP rankings at world number 1. With Djokovic and Alcaraz yet again meeting in a high-stakes scenario this Sunday at Wimbledon, can the young Spaniard rectify his issues from last match to take a 2-1 lead in the pair's head-to-head, or will 23-time Grand Slam champion show